Hi, and welcome to the People First weekly webinar, where we talk about leadership and all things related to leadership. This week, we're going to be talking about people and employees in your business. Do you have employees in your business who are working really hard, but they don't seem to be getting anything done because they're not working in conjunction with each other? They may be working against each other. So we're going to talk about that and some other things. If you pop on the call, I'll just reference you briefly. And then also in the chat up here in the corner, we have a link that you can book a call with me after this webinar, and there's a reduced price on that if you are interested in doing so. So you have people in your business, your organization, who are probably working diligently to accomplish your mission and vision, right? Are they? Do you know if they are? Do they know if they are? So I'm going to tell you a brief story, and then I'm going to refer back to that story as we kind of go out throughout today. So I was doing some work with a local church, and there was some shifting of literal furniture going on in the church. And the pastor and the leadership team wanted to kind of spruce up a certain area of the library. They wanted, or not the library, I'm sorry, of the lobby. And they wanted to paint a wall and move some things around because they were going to add some new signage, put some fresh colors in, and then just add a little bit of flow to the lobby because that is some of the feedback that we had gotten. So we were kind of making some of those changes. So the pastor went to the church librarian and said, "Hey, we've got this, 7-foot tall bookcase that's here in the wall. What we'd like to do is move that. Are you okay with that?" And the church librarian said, "No, I like it right there. It's okay. We're just going to leave it there." And the pastor came to me the next day and was like, "Todd, what do we do?" Like, I asked nicely and she said no. Now, I know some of you leaders who may be watching this are saying, "Well, you're the leader, you're in charge, you do what you say, and just move the bookcase and they'll just have to deal with it." Sure. Yeah, you could do that, but then you would disenfranchise somebody who is volunteering in your organization and providing crucial work for your organization, and then they're not going to be bought into your mission and vision. See how this is going to go? Yes. So I said, all right, let me talk to the church librarian, and I think we'll be able to smooth this over and it'll be real easy. He's like, "Okay, go for it." So I went down to the church librarian. This was the next week. And I said, "Hey, can I talk to you and show you something real quick?" She was like, "Yeah, sure." So I took her out into the lobby and I said, "I want to explain to you what the vision of the leadership is going to do with this space. See how we've painted that wall over there by the front door? Yeah. Okay. So we want that to carry through to this section of the lobby as well. And then in this space, we want to have a wall that talks about how you can sign up for things over here. And we want to have another wall for the youth group over here because that's closest to the youth group room. And we want to paint those to match the colors that are flowing through the lobby in the other area." And she goes, "Oh, so we should probably move my bookcase then, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, are you okay with that?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Let's put it over by the library door. Then the library stuff is next to the library." And I said, "Great idea. I love it. Great. We'll probably get that done sometime this week." End of conversation. So I went back to the pastor and I said, "Hey, mission accomplished." And she's like, or he said, how did you do that? Like, how did you get her on board with moving the bookcase?" And I said, "It was easy. I explained the vision. She didn't want to move the bookcase because you didn't give her any additional information. Moving a bookcase just for the sake of moving a bookcase, no, I don't want to do that." And that kind of makes sense. But if you're moving a bookcase in order to accomplish a larger vision and you include the person who's kind of in charge of the bookcase in that vision so that they understand what's going on with that vision, that now I see how I play a role. And that's exactly what the church librarian did. She understood how she played a role and how she was involved in the mission and the vision of the church at that point. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't think about that." So easy fix, but you just have to know how to do it. So having a mission and vision for your company, your business, your organization, whatever it is, and these words are thrown around a lot. Mission, vision. Oh, we got to have a mission and a vision. Yes, we're going to plan our mission and we're going to plan our vision and we're going to do all this other stuff. But do you really do it? Is it really a living, breathing document and way of life for your company? Is it ingrained in the culture of your business? Because if it's not, your employees probably are going to miss the boat on that. And then you don't have kind of that guiding light to drive you forward. So what is your mission and your vision? You need to establish that. And I'm going to encourage you, don't try to be all highfalutin about it, because you're going to make this big wordy paragraph that nobody is ever going to remember. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it straightforward, and make it something that is accomplishable. Like, you can do it. You can affect this. You can actually accomplish what you're setting out to do with this mission and vision. So don't make it big. Don't make it 30 paragraphs long and, have it tattooed on your back, which I guess that could be kind of fun if you're into that sort of thing. Anyways, excuse me. Once you have your mission and vision, make sure your employees know what it is and make sure they know how to access it. One really easy way that I've seen this go is I have seen people print it out on a small piece of paper and put it right by the time clock. So that way, every time every employee goes up to the time clock to punch in or punch out, it's right there. And they're probably not going to read it every single time, but they're going to know where it is, and they're going to read it every once in a while and be like, okay, yep, I get it. I've also seen companies put it on a poster. They'll go to a vinyl print shop and they will get it printed out and put on a vinyl poster and put up like in the break room wall or something. And that's another way to really easily have those things in front of your employees. Can your employees recite it? If they can't, that's okay, because that's your opportunity to bring it up into common language conversations, what I like to call water cooler conversations. So before we get into that, let's talk about the cost of misalignment of your mission and your vision. If you are unaligned, then your work drains productivity. It causes frustration and it slows the business growth of your company. If people are not working all in the same direction, then what's really happening? They're just working. They're busy, but they're not actually getting anything done that is moving forward the mission and vision of your company. So we've talked about the analogy of rowers, the collegiate rowers. They sit in that little skinny boat and they're all pulling, and they've got a caller up front who's telling them to row, stroke, stroke. Well, they're going really fast in this little boat because they're all working for the same goal. They're working together in unison, and they're all pointed in the same direction. That's a great analogy for what your company should be. Now, if you have people who are working in teams and they need to be aligned and they may need to do different things at different times, sure, absolutely. But is it all going towards the common mission and vision of your company? That's the key. So you need to recognize the symptoms of people who are not working with your mission and vision and not working to further that. Signs that your team may be busy but not really making progress is constant meetings and no results. Or duplicate efforts. You've got team A and team B doing the same thing. Well, why? That's not good use of your resources or your payroll. And employees who are burning out. Employees who are burning out are probably working really hard at doing something, but they're never seeing the fruits of their labor. Now, as a tough-necked employer, you may say, they just need to do the job. I'll worry about the results. Yeah, but if you want people who are loyal and will work hard for you, they need to see the fruits of their labor, and they need to see how what they do contributes to the mission, vision of the company, and how their individual effort is helping you move this large organization forward. So what are some common causes for misalignment? A lack of clear communication from you. Leadership will fix just about everything. And if you are not clearly communicating the mission and the vision and what each individual's purpose is for the mission and vision within your company, then they're not going to know what to do. Now, they'll know what to do, but they're not going to know how they fit in. And you, as the leader of your company, your business, your organization, you really need to communicate that with the people on your staff and in your employment. Employees don't necessarily always understand how their roles connect to the bigger picture. So I'm going to give you an example of Toyota. Toyota had, and I believe they still do, but back in the 80s, they had a concept on the line where any employee on the line could stop the entire assembly line. And now you think, well, you got some guy who's installing lug nuts. can stop the entire line front to start or front to back and just stop the whole assembly line? Yes. Now, there were some conditions to that, but it was really effective. If the lug nut guy saw a problem with the lug nuts that was going to affect the rest of the line or affect the quality of his job, he could stop the line, have management come and consult with him to see about a solution for the problem. And what that did was it boosted quality. Now, did it slow things down from time to time? Absolutely. But think about the lug nut guy. The lug nut guy had the power and the authority to stop the assembly line and consult with management over something that he saw was probably going to negatively impact the quality of the product that he was helping to produce. Man, talk about buy-in. If the little guy has the power to consult with upper level management to solve a problem, that's a really powerful and empowering feeling for that person to have. So how do we fix this issue? I talked about just making your mission and your vision something that is easily accessible. Also having it as part of water cooler conversations. Now, I know we don't probably have a lot of water coolers in offices anymore with all the technology that we have, and people have their Stanleys and their Owala bottles and everything. But there are often times, like in the break room, where people will congregate and just have conversations. And I have frequently talked about how leaders need to be in those spaces, not necessarily to lead, but to just be in those spaces and have conversations. You don't want to walk into the break room and start talking business because your employees are not going to necessarily like that. But if you walk into the break room and you say, "Hey, Sally, how'd your son's track meet go this past week?" "Oh, it went really good. It went really good, Todd. Thanks for asking." Those are the conversations that you want to have. Now, can you have conversations in the hallway? Sometimes you have these working meetings where people are walking from one space to another and they're discussing business. Absolutely. Let's do that. This is your opportunity as a leader to include your mission, your vision, and maybe not necessarily recite them, word for word, but talk about the concepts and the ideas within your mission and vision in those conversations. You want to have talking points and maybe even some canned responses where you're like, if this comes up, I'm going to talk about how we're going to do X, Y, and Z because that's in our mission and vision. And then as you more frequently use the verbiage and language from your mission and vision in just everyday conversations, the people around you are going to pick up on that, like, hey, wow, that's really what we're doing. And then they're going to start using it with their direct reports. And you see how this starts to trickle down to every employee. Your mission and vision should be in some way, maybe not verbatim, but in some way stated at staff meetings, at company meetings, so that everybody knows why they are doing what they are doing. So look at your mission, your vision, see what it's all about, and see how you can incorporate some of the, I'm going to even say, direct vocabulary words. That's the teacher in me coming out. The vocabulary words that are going to help you promote your mission and vision to your staff, your employees, and everybody in the organization that you're working with. You've heard me say that probably, 4 times? Yeah, I did that on purpose. Why? Because repetition is key. This is not something where you say, all right, our mission and vision is this. And then you put it on a little piece of paper and everybody gets it at the meeting and they read their piece of paper. Great. Now we've covered our mission and vision. And then where do all of those papers wind up within the next 24 hours? Yep. In the round file. Yes. Next to everybody's desk. And within 36 to 48 hours, everybody's pretty much forgot what it is, right? Yes. So leaders, I've talked with leaders about this all of the time. You can't say something to your employees, your direct reports, just once and expect that that's going to be ingrained in what they do and they're moving forward with that information. I've talked to countless leaders and they'll say to me, well, Todd, I told them. Yes, you did. And then I'll say, how many times? Well, once. That's all I should need to tell them. All right. So let's take a step back. Let's drop the emotion a little bit. And I want you to think about your children. Think about your children. When you're raising your children and when they're small, did you only tell them something once? No. They needed repetitions. They needed practice. Think about when you were teaching them to ride a bike. Did they just do it right away? No, absolutely not. Practice, practice. multiple days before they could actually ride the bike. Tying a shoe, same thing. They didn't get it the first time. We had to practice, practice, practice. And you as a parent were patient with them most of the time. And you were attentive to their needs. You saw what they were doing wrong. You coached them through it. You helped them. And then when they finally got it, what did you do? You celebrated. Yay, you rode your bike, or yay, you tied your shoe, or whatever it is that you were teaching them how to do. If you have that same mindset with your employees, you are going to get so much more out of them, because every time you check on them when they're doing something, they're not necessarily going to feel, oh man, here comes Todd again. He's checking up on me. If I'm coming in a supportive way and with a supportive mindset and supportive language, like, hey, Jim, thanks for doing that. Do you need any support in this? We talked about this yesterday at the staff meeting. I'm just checking in with everybody to see if they need anything else, because this is really important. Oh, no, Todd, I'm good. Actually, I'm good. Thanks. Or maybe, actually, you know what, Todd? I didn't really understand what we were talking about with the mission and vision. Can you explain that to me again? Sure, absolutely. And there's your secondary point of contact where you can talk about whatever you want involving your mission and vision and reiterate those points to them. So when it comes down to mission and vision, what is the key? You. You are the key. Your leadership is key to mission and vision. Whatever it is, however you bring that across to your employees, you are the most important factor for your mission and vision of your company, of your business, of your organization, whatever it is. And who is the most important person to impart those things to your employees and your direct reports? That's right. It's you again, because you are their leader. They're going to look to you and they're going to respond to you no matter what. Now, can you have managers who are below you or over teams that can help disseminate that information for you? Absolutely. But as the leader, you are the one who is responsible for making sure that everyone in your organization or your business understands that. Now, can you help, or can your managers or your direct reports who are overseeing teams help with that? Absolutely. But where does it start? With you. Don't ever forget that. You are super important. You are probably the most important key to establishing mission and vision within your business and seeing that it moves forward. So I don't see anybody else on the call, but this is going to be listed as a replay. And I hope that you have found some value with this information. So if you have found value with this information, if you see how some of this coaching and consulting can help you move your business forward, then I would encourage you to check the description box below, because there's a link there where you can book a call with me and we can see if I can help you take your business to the next level. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope to talk to you soon.